The Mind Manipulator parasite, also known as Toxoplasma gondii, is a tiny organism that can infect many different animals. It can only reproduce inside cats, so it has developed a strange way to help itself get there. It changes the behavior of the animals it infects to improve its chances. In mice and rats, Toxoplasma travels to the brain and disrupts their natural fear of cats. Normally, a mouse avoids anything that smells like a cat because it means danger. But an infected mouse often loses that fear and may even become curious about the scent. This makes the mouse much easier for a cat to catch, which is exactly what the parasite needs to continue its life cycle. Scientists think this happens because the parasite affects certain brain chemicals and slightly alters the way the brain handles fear and decision-making. Humans can also get toxoplasma, usually from undercooked meat, contaminated soil, or handling cat litter. Most people never feel sick, and many have no idea they're infected. Even so, some studies have found small patterns, such as infected people taking slightly more risks or reacting a bit slower in certain situations. These ideas are still being researched, but they show that a parasite can have subtle effects without causing obvious symptoms. Once it enters the body, toxoplasma forms tiny cysts in tissues, especially the brain and muscles. These cysts can stay for life. A strong immune system keeps them under control, but if a person's immune system becomes weak, the parasite can reactivate and cause serious problems, including brain inflammation and vision issues. What makes Toxoplasma gondii so fascinating is how common it is, and how cleverly it influences the behavior of its hosts. It's a powerful example of how a microscopic organism can shape the actions of much larger animals, and even in small ways the humans who carry it. The Malaria Parasite, or Plasmodium falciparum, is a microscopic parasite best known for causing the most dangerous form of malaria. It spreads through mosquito bites, specifically from female Anopheles mosquitoes. When an infected mosquito bites a person, the parasite enters the bloodstream and begins a complex journey that makes malaria such a serious disease. Once inside the body, Plasmodium falciparum first heads to the liver. There it multiplies quietly for several days without causing symptoms. After building up its numbers, it leaves the liver and invades red blood cells. This stage is what makes people sick. As the parasite grows, it bursts out of the red blood cells in repeated cycles, causing fever, chills, and exhaustion. Plasmodium falciparum is especially dangerous because it can make infected red blood cells stick to the walls of tiny blood vessels. This can block blood flow to important organs. When this happens in the brain, it can lead to cerebral malaria, a life-threatening condition that can cause seizures, confusion, and coma. This ability to block blood flow is one reason why this species of malaria parasite causes more deaths than any other. The parasite's life cycle continues when another mosquito bites an infected person and picks up the parasite along with the blood. Inside the mosquito, the parasite goes through several more stages until it's ready to infect a new human, starting the cycle again. Plasmodium falciparum remains a major global health challenge, especially in tropical regions. Even so, progress in prevention, bed nets, medicines, and new vaccines has helped reduce cases in many areas. Understanding this parasite is key to controlling malaria and reducing the harm it causes around the world. The Insomnia Parasite, or Trypanosoma brucei, is a single-celled parasite best known for causing African sleeping sickness in humans. It spreads through the bite of the tsetse fly, an insect found in certain parts of sub-Saharan Africa. When an infected tsetse fly bites a person, the parasite enters the bloodstream and begins to multiply. At first, Trypanosoma brucei stays in the blood and lymphatic system. This can cause symptoms like fever, headaches, and swollen lymph nodes. But what makes this parasite especially challenging is its ability to evade the immune system. It constantly changes the proteins on its surface, like switching disguises over and over. The immune system attacks one version only for the parasite to switch to another. This cycle can continue for months or even years. As the infection progresses, the parasite can move into the central nervous system. This is when the sleeping sickness part begins. It interferes with the brain's normal sleep-wake cycle, causing extreme daytime sleepiness, nighttime insomnia, confusion, and changes in behavior. Without treatment, the disease can become life-threatening. The life cycle continues when another tsetse fly bites an infected person or animal. The parasite then develops inside the fly until it's ready to be passed to a new host. Trypanosoma brucei stands out because of its clever immune-dodging strategy and the severe effects it can have on the brain. Modern treatments can cure the disease if it's caught early, but controlling the tsetse fly and detecting infections remain major challenges in the regions where this parasite is found. Echinococcus multilocularis is a tiny tapeworm, but the damage it causes is anything but small. It mainly infects foxes, dogs, and other wild animals, and it spreads through their feces. Humans can become accidental hosts by swallowing the parasite's eggs, usually from contaminated soil, food, or water. Once inside a person, the parasite doesn't grow into a normal tapeworm. Instead, it forms a cyst-like growth in the liver. But unlike typical cysts, this one behaves more like a slowly spreading tumor. It expands outward and can invade nearby tissues, making it hard for the body to control. This condition is called alveolar echinococcosis, and it can take years to cause symptoms because the parasite grows so slowly. Early on, people may feel nothing at all. As the parasite grows, it can cause abdominal pain, fatigue, or jaundice, depending on how much of the liver is affected. Because the parasite spreads in a branching pattern, complete removal by surgery can be difficult. Long-term medication is often needed to keep it under control. The life cycle continues when predators like foxes or dogs eat infected rodents. The parasite then grows into an adult tapeworm in the animal's intestine and releases eggs back into the environment, ready to infect the next host. Echinococcus multilocularis is especially concerning because it quietly grows for years and behaves aggressively once detected. Even though human infections are rare, understanding this parasite is important because early detection and careful treatment make a huge difference in outcomes. The organ killer, or Leishmania donovani, is a microscopic parasite that causes visceral leishmaniasis, one of the most serious forms of leishmaniasis. It spreads through the bite of infected female sandflies, which are tiny insects found in many tropical and subtropical regions. When a sandfly bites a person, the parasite enters the skin and then moves into the bloodstream. Once inside the body, Leishmania donovani targets immune cells called macrophages. These cells normally destroy harmful invaders, but this parasite survives inside them and uses them to multiply. As the infection grows, it spreads to major organs, especially the spleen, liver, and bone marrow. The disease can take weeks or months to show symptoms. Early signs include fever, weight loss, and fatigue. As it progresses, the spleen and liver may enlarge, and the immune system becomes weaker. Without treatment, visceral leishmaniasis can be life-threatening, which is why early diagnosis is so important. The life cycle continues when another sandfly bites an infected person and picks up the parasite. Inside the sandfly, Leishmania donovani changes form and prepares to infect the next host. Leishmania donovani stands out because of the way it hides inside the very cells meant to fight infection, and because of the serious damage it can cause if untreated. With proper medical care, the disease can be cured, but controlling sandfly exposure and improving early detection remain key challenges in areas where this parasite is common. Brain-eating amoeba, or Naegleria fowleri, is a microscopic organism found in warm freshwater. It lives in lakes, rivers, hot springs, and even poorly maintained swimming pools. Humans usually become infected when warm water containing the amoeba enters the nose, typically while swimming, diving, or splashing around. You cannot get infected from drinking water. Once the amoeba enters the nose, it travels up the olfactory nerve and reaches the brain. There, it causes a rare but extremely serious infection called primary amoebic meningoencephalitis, or PAM. The amoeba destroys brain tissue as it feeds and multiplies, which is why it has earned such an alarming nickname. The early symptoms can appear within a few days and often resemble a regular illness: headache, fever, nausea, or a stiff neck. As the infection progresses, symptoms become severe, including confusion, seizures, and loss of balance. The disease moves very quickly, and without rapid treatment, it is usually fatal, which is why awareness and prevention are so important. Naegleria fowleri infections are incredibly rare, but they draw attention because of how fast and deadly the infection can be. The best prevention is avoiding warm freshwater entering the nose during activities like diving or swimming in natural hot ponds, especially during hot weather. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a future upload. Thanks for watching.